What is up, guys? On Anything But United today, Greg Clarke is a knob. Scotland qualify for their first tournament in 22 years. Ireland, well, they tried. And Kieran Tierney sees a ghost. So without further ado, cue the music. Hello, guys, and welcome to Anything United. Yes, you guessed it. It's a show about, well, anything but United. I'm joined by James. James, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for this. It should be good. Something a bit different.
Yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, as I explained, Greg Clarke is a knob. The ex-FA chairman now described black players as coloured in a call with MPs.
If I look at what happens to high-profile female footballers, high-profile coloured footballers.
So, James, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, what can you think about it, really? The guy's just stuck in the 50s, isn't he? He looks ancient, and I think he's just using the language his mum and dad taught him during the war. So it's horrifying, isn't it, that one of the highest powers in English football is still talking about people like this, and just shows you that all this move for Black Lives Matter and everything is still not doing as much as we need it to. So if anything, these sort of what would you call them? I want to say protests, but they're not protests. Sort of acts of solidarity need to be upped, if anything. I know there's actually people calling for them to sort of be slightly removed now. I think there's a certain group of people who are getting bored of the Black Lives Matter taking the knee and everything before the game. But if anything, this just shows that stuff needs to be amped up.
It's safe to say that we have hit a completely new level now. The FA chairman, out of anyone, the FA chairman to go and say that, and then to try and justify it afterwards, as saying that his time in America influenced what he said. Well, I'm afraid, mate, that's not going to cut it for me, and that's not going to cut it for anyone else. You just simply don't say that especially on a call with MPs. And then it's good that they called him out on it during the call, and he's kind of going, "Oh, I apologise, didn't mean to say it." Well, you said it, so off you go, mate. So yeah, I mean, that's that, and I mean, the FA have got to go forwards and hire someone completely different, go and change the world now. That's all I'll say about them. So let's move on from that. I mean, it was only a short one, but let's move on to the other parts of the UK, shall we? Scotland have just qualified for their first tournament in 22 years, and it took a penalty shootout win over Serbia. I mean, Serbia are a good side, to be fair, so regard that as a good win. These guys are just massively overhyped, though, aren't they? I mean, Serbia were awful, and I don't want to put a downer on Scotland, but I mean, yeah, they're not very convincing, and they're in our group as well. So, what do you think of that?
I can't share your disappointment. I'm actually delighted that they've qualified. I think that game in the Euros is going to be incredible if we get fans let in. I think if there's no fans, it's going to be a proper boring game because England are involved and they don't seem to know how to play any sort of exciting football. But yeah, I think it made me chuckle when David Marshall had to wait a couple of seconds to celebrate, but it makes you smile when you see how much it means to these lads. You know, a lot of them were crying in the post-match interview. But one thing I did notice as well post-match is Andy Robertson is properly scared of interviews. I think he made eye contact with the camera once in his entire interview. You can tell he just didn't enjoy it. But yeah, I'm not Scottish, but I'm proper happy for them as a country because we'll just batter them in the Euros and it'll be a nice day out for them. It's like taking your younger sibling with you when you go out to play with your mates, isn't it? You don't really want them there, but you take them anyway. And they seem to have a good time. So yeah, that's all that matters.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's a win-win, provided we don't lose. That's all,
yeah.
all I can really say. If we lose at Wembley to the Scots, oh dear. And the problem for me is half their team is like English. So, I mean, it's like they take our worst players. That's what they do. And then, if we fancy one of their players, we'll just go, come on. Before you go into the senior side, just even if you play a friendly, just come on over. You're a good player, You
know when Sir Scott McSauce scores a 30-yard winner in the Euros against us, I'm going to come back to this and I'm going to get a clip of you going, yeah, Scotland is shit. We take all their best players.
But I have just said that they just nick all our crap players, and our crap players are better than their best players. That's I mean, apart from obviously Robertson's decent, and yeah, they've got some good players, and I do wish them well, but they're like someone that's, I don't know, someone that you don't really respect. You find them funny, and they're just there at the end of the day, aren't they? You can't really get rid of them.
No.
But
do you know what though? The Scottish penalties, I've got to say, were incredible, weren't they? Can you imagine if they were that decisive in that independence election that they had? They'd be out of the UK by now if people were actually that efficient in things. But yeah, fair play to them. Serbia, I never thought they'd beat Serbia in 1,000 years. But that's obviously because Matic is retired now. So no Matic, no party.
And their manager's a cock as well, because he took off Milinkovic Savic with like 80 minutes gone. What an absolute moron!
Saving him for a bigger game.
I mean, last time, I saw something interesting. Last time Scotland qualified for a major tournament, Nicola Sturgeon was a 5-year-old boy.
She still is, isn't she?
Yeah, she acts like one. Right, so we'll move on to Ireland, the irrelevant ones, the ones that kind of the whipping boys is what I'll say. They're not as good as their neighbours, any of their neighbours. They're not as good as Slovakia. So yeah, I mean, what are your comments on them? They've just been, beaten by partially our B team, I guess you could say. And just to top it all off, one of their players tested positive for coronavirus after the game. So,
it wasn't a very good day for Ireland as a whole, was it? Northern Ireland crashed out in spectacular fashion, and then we just whipped Ireland. Well, Republic of Ireland with like you say, our B team. There was no Kane, no Sterling, no Rashford, no Jordan Henderson. As mental as it is, he is a first team player. Harry Maguire captained us, and we kept a clean sheet and won 3-0. We even scored a goal. That just shows the sort of levels that we've been. Well, it just shows the levels that Ireland are playing at, and it was nice of Jack Grealish to get a goal against his former team. That was very nice. Coming back to haunt them. Just their fault for just being not very good and not being someone that anyone would want to play for. They've got, who is it they've got at the back that was playing for Brighton last year? Shane Duffy. When he's still your best centre back, then you're in trouble, aren't you?
He's your best centre back, and he's being benched for Celtic at the moment, and you've got a big problem. But yeah, I mean, there's again there. And I don't want to be too big, big mouth, because I'm English at the end of the day. But we are levels above these guys. Every single one of the home nations, we are levels above these guys. And I mean, some Irish fans might watch this. The reality is, guys, you're shit. That's the reality. You're not a very good side. It was a nice run out for your team. You put out your best side. We understand that. You've got to try and get a win. We played our most defensive formation we could have played, and we still completely annihilated you lot. So, 5 or 6 would have been nice, but at the end of the day, if you cap it at 3 just to be, just be nice, then it's like they forfeit the match anyway. So it's just being a bit friendly at the end of the day.
To be fair to them, though, they have just lost their best striker, which was David McGoldrick, who's retired, and that says a lot about the standard of football there, doesn't it?
Oh, David McGoldrick is absolutely class. You kidding me? Champions League striker? This guy should be competing with Kane for the Golden Boot. Not even a question. Unbelievable player. And when you've got like 4 Preston players in your team, you are doing well as a national side. Worrying to say the least.
Although is something that I'd like to talk about. What are your thoughts on Bellingham getting his debut? Because a lot of people on Twitter are saying that it's not deserved over Ross Barkley and James Maddison and players like that.
Yeah, no, I'd say it's fair. You can argue. I've watched him a couple of times when he's been playing for Dortmund this year, and he's been playing more than people thought he would. And he's been good. I mean, the worrying thing for me is that Birmingham are now going to have to fork out another 30 million on a statue outside the ground, or paint the seats with his number, or they're going to have to do some sort of memorial for him because he's just got a first cap for England. So imagine when he gets to 50. I mean, they're going to have to rename the stadium, the Jude Bellingham Stadium. So that's the worry for me, not anything else. I mean, good on him getting his first cap. It's a bit frustrating, I guess. Ross Barkley's been good this year, but you know what Gareth Southgate's like. He says he picks people on form, but that's a load of shit, isn't it? He doesn't pick people on form at all. So yeah, I mean, if you're picking Michael Keane to play in the squad in the first place, then you're not picking people on form. We all know that. And if Pickford's in the squad, this isn't based on form at all. So yeah, I mean, I don't trust the waistcoat Sam Allardyce anymore with his bullshit tactics. But at the end of the day, if he loses to Scotland, he'll be the most embarrassed man in history next year. So
before we move on, can we just take a second? Speaking of English centre backs, can we just take a second to laugh at Liverpool, please?
Yeah,
I enjoy that.
I mean, I didn't want to do this, and that's purely because I'm actually still at a stage where I feel sorry for them. But then I see the comments on Twitter, and I just realize these guys are a bunch of knobs anyway, so we might as well just rip into them. The reality is they've lost pretty much their whole back line. They've now lost Mo Salah to COVID as well, which is even better. So just when you think they couldn't cry anymore after Van Dijk, they've now got Alexander-Arnold out for a month, and Joe Gomez probably out for 3 or 4 months. If he's done a tendon in his knee, that's going to be at least 4 months, I reckon.
Well, they're saying until the end of the season. He'll come back just before the end. But I mean, you have got to feel sorry for him because looking on Twitter, they are the first team in English football to have 3 defenders all die in the same season. So yeah, you have really got to feel sorry for him because no one likes to see that, do they? But
no, I mean, 3 defenders are dead, and then you've got Mo Salah's on his deathbed at the moment as well. He seems to be really struggling, even though he's got no symptoms whatsoever of COVID. He seems to be struggling so much. So yeah, I mean, let's all pray for Liverpool, and let's all pray for their fan base. I mean, I was going to do a couple of memorial videos, but I think it's just too soon for me. It's too much of an emotional subject for me. It's not like we had 9 injuries last year, is it? United
did they have a buyback clause on Skirtle or Lovren? Because it's looking like pretty stupid business now if they didn't.
No, I don't think they did. They've got one player they could be looking at is Ezekiel Garay, who's left Valencia because he couldn't agree a new contract with them. Good player.
Has he not signed for United yet?
No, I thought. See, it's been the last 10 years that he's been at Carrington. The last 10 years that I've known.
I'm sure him and Nicholas Gaitan were coming on the same, coming as like a double deal, but
they've literally. I spoke to one of my friends at United. One of my in the know accounts. That's what I say, in the know account. Yeah. They were sat there for the last 10 years, and they've been sat there just ready to sign the paperwork. And they're going, hang on a sec, we've got to take like 9 billion photographs, so you can't do it yet. And then they come back the next year and they go to sign and go, we've got to take photographs first, okay? And they can't sign. So, I mean, I think Gaitan's got a broken arm now because, he's been holding it up there with a pen so much that it's just fucked. So, yeah, I mean, those deals are supposed to go through like a long time ago. And I'm hearing now that they're still going to go through next summer. Yeah. And, we have a clause on them until they're 50. We can buy them. So
yeah, paying them 250 grand a week, both on 5-year deals.
Yeah.
Bargain if you ask me.
But seriously, Garay is one of the options. Ezekiel Garay is one of the options. He's one of the people that we were talking about like 7 years ago when he was actually quite good. Now he's slow as fuck and really, really shit. So, I mean, good luck to Liverpool. They didn't want to sign any centre halves this year because they thought we've got 2 centre halves. That's enough for the whole year. Who needs more than 2 centre halves? And they've had to play someone that played on loan at Stuttgart last year and someone else who's playing non-league 2 years ago. So,
do you
fantastically, but it could go tits up.
talking of the injuries, then, do you agree with Jurgen Klopp in that it's because of the fixtures? Because in my opinion, no one else is struggling as bad as Liverpool are. Liverpool are famously a team that don't like to rotate. Jurgen Klopp's known how busy his schedule was for the last 3 months. He's had time to prepare for these games. He's had chance to rotate, and he's not taken it because he just thinks his players are invincible. And now he's moaning that it's the schedule's fault when he makes less. I bet he averages less than 1 change per game in terms of starting 11. Yeah. Diogo Jota comes in occasionally. Someone else will come in for someone else if they're injured, but that first team 11 is set. It has been for 3 years now, and this has got to be from Klopp's ignorance, has it not? Because he's had time to prepare. He's refused to rotate like everyone else. Everyone else has rotated. You look how many different players United have already played this season. Even Timothy Fosu-Mensah's got a game for United this season already. I
think that's too far, though. I think playing him was like, we're all like, okay, you can play all the shit you want, okay, but Fosu-Mensah, just please, no, don't play him. And Ole's like, well, I've got to give all my 29-man squad a game, so we played him anyway. But how Liverpool could do with Fosu-Mensah right now, they're struggling, and it is down to ignorance partly. But at the same time, the fixtures aren't great. They aren't great for United. We've seen Rashford's had to withdraw from the squad. Shaw's now injured as well. So it is partially down to that, but it's also partially down to the fact that they're just victim FC. They just cry about everything.
Oh yeah, nothing's their fault ever.
Yeah. So we'll move on to the final segment. I know it's a short show, but we're cracking through these, and that is that although Kieran Tierney qualified with Scotland against Villa for Arsenal, I don't know. I think he saw a ghost. He seemed to kind of. It was windmill legs. I don't know what was going on with him. We've seen some stuff with him, before where he does some sort of weird movement, but this is a new level. This is an Arsenal Premiership footballer. James, go ahead. What do you think?
It was just. Have you seen that video that was going around ages ago? The bloke who's like scooping up ice, like shoveling up ice, and he falls over, but it takes him about 10 seconds to fall over.
Yeah.
I'll try and find the video and put it in, but like that's what it reminded me of. There were limbs everywhere. He was never in control, and he just kicks it the completely wrong direction. And like you say, it's not the first time that this has happened with him, but it's also not the most embarrassing thing that happened to Arsenal on the day. You know, getting beat at home 3-0 by a team who came one place above the relegation zones last year.
Relegation zone
1 point, yeah. They were one dodgy goal line technology decision away from being relegated, and now they're battering Arsenal and Liverpool. So fair play to Villa, but yeah, big L for Arsenal. And Aubameyang still hasn't scored very many. He scored against us, but that was a penalty, and as we know, penalties don't count. So yeah,
no, don't with us because VAR FC or Varchester United or whatever you want to call us. But yeah, Aubameyang's not doing a very good job at the moment, and as I've described him on Twitter, Mikel Arteta is just a nice, Louis V coat or whatever. He's just a better version of Tony Pulis, better dressed version of Tony Pulis. Doesn't ever play fantastic football. It's kind of keep the ball and then hoofball when you want to attack. So yeah, I mean, Arteta ball for me is the best you can ever get. So yeah, I mean, but Kieran Tierney hasn't helped himself there for sure. Right.
I just want to know how we lost to Arsenal. Like that was probably one of the worst performances under Ole. The fact that we got beat by this Arsenal team, well, even if it was only 1-0, it's still, first side that Arsenal have beaten away from home in about 6 years, and it was us.
Yeah, well, it was on the cards. It was bound to happen. Right, I think we're going to end it there. It's been a short one, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to see more of this, then give us a like, give us a comment, and I think we're going to try and do this every week if we can. So
hopefully.
Thank you, James, for coming
Cheers. Enjoyed it.
And this has been Anything But United. Make sure to tune in next week.